Dear friends, welcome to this new episode of UFO Encounters in Italy. Sometimes UFO encounters are not pleasant at all. And the case we're gonna see tonight is exactly that kind of case. We are on the Asiago Plateau, a very nice area of mountains and hills, made famous by the bloody battles happened during the First World War between Italy and Austria. But many years later, it was autumn 1978, a 61-year-old man, a retired man called Angelo, was cutting some branch, some tree in those woods. It was a quiet and peaceful day, and the man was working in the woods with his, in Italian the name is roncola. This is one of those wood cutters made with a crescent-shaped blade. He was cutting some tree when he had the very uncomfortable impression that somebody was looking at him. He suddenly turned and saw the most incredible scene of his life. Two little creatures about 80-90 centimeters, so tall like young kids. They were in front of him, but they were not on the ground. They were levitating about 40 centimeters from the ground, looking at him and grunting in a very sinister way. But what amazed him the most, it was the horrible aspect of these creatures. This is what he said he saw. Some kind of terrible dwarfs with little bodies, huge hands and feet, big ears like a donkey's ones, and horrible teeth, very well visible. Well, he was pretty scared by them, but he was a strong man, and so he had the courage to put some question and said, "Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? And what do you want from me?" Well, the creatures probably didn't understand what he said, but one of them was very interested to the woodcutter he carried in his hand, and he tried to handle it several times, and there was a sort of fight, and every time that being managed to touch the woodcutter, Angelo felt a sort of electric shock. He was so scared that with the tip of the eye he managed to see a big branch of tree he had just cut, and so he handled that and showed in a menacing way to the two creatures that in spite of having traveled from another planet or another dimension or another place, who knows which one, they were very scared by this very rough menace, and so they fled. They fled, and Angelo, of course, passed on the counter-attack, and he chased them. He chased until a glade in the wood, where he clearly saw an object landed. That is the aspect of these objects. Very small, actually, but big enough to let the two creatures get in And Angelo saw one of them with those big hands closing the hatch just a moment before that strange device took off. Still scared, but a very practical man, very hard man, he returned back home, and he told the story. And the day after, he went again to the place where he saw those creatures, and he and his relatives found some evidence of the struggle that happened there. Even if the evidence was just some broken branch and not that much more. So that some UFO specialists argued that probably this was a totally invented story. It could be, actually, but we must always remember that Angelo never asked for fame, never seeked any kind of success behind this story. Actually, it was a very misanthropic man. Didn't like to tell about his stories whatsoever. So I think we can exclude the possibility that he just invented that to obtain some fame or some success and eventually some money. That was not the case, definitely. So he also lived in a little community, and when you invent some kind of story, you have the fame of being a liar for all of your life. And that was not the case for sure. Many years have passed, but he never denied the truth of what he saw, his truth at least. To this day, this still is one of the most intriguing and sinister cases of UFO encounters in Italy. What really Angelo saw that night? Difficult to say, but once again, the only answer we can give is a big question mark. Thanks for being with me again. I hope you liked this episode, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Comments, suggestions, critics here below, as always. And if you want to subscribe, I will be happy. Thanks again, and all the best. See you soon.